What's up everyone and welcome back to another Path of Exile 2 market analysis video. So if you are totally new to these kinds of videos or you haven't seen the channel in a long time, I recommend that you check out the Discord server in the video description, because there we got a lot of different strategies for you, how you can invest your divines properly, and also a fund where you can basically invest your divines directly to us and we'll reinvest it for you and grow it in value, and then you might make a profit. So while this is not guaranteed, you can look at the records and at the market updates. I mean, just read through the channel and you'll be updated on all that info, and then you can decide for yourself, do you want to trust this, do you not want to trust this. But we already got about 200 people invested into the fund and it's going pretty good so far. So to get started with today's market analysis, we'll pull up this document right here. That again is also going to be in the video description, though I recommend that you download it because otherwise you won't see these beautiful lines, you'll just see dots. So to look at the data for today, we got two different graphs. The first one is the short-term development and the second one is the long-term development. And if we look at the short-term development, we can see that yesterday's prediction kind of had the results that we expected, right? The Omen of Whittling, because it reached the 100% line, has gone up in value significantly, and the other omens, they kind of dropped in value. So this drop is not as much of an indicator as I expected. I expected the drop to be much larger, but I think there simply hasn't been a lack of supplies because a lot of people have been playing the game again, right? If you look at Steam charts, there are a few more people playing this game than the last few days. So there has been a larger supply of omens than expected, but they still dropped somehow dropped in value. So we'll still be doing some trading, as I explained, where we are using the different market ratios to make a slight profit, but we are not largely investing into something because we expect it to rise tomorrow. The only thing that we can expect from the short-term development is that the omen prices are either going to drop or they're going to rise a bit and then drop. But nonetheless, the omen prices will plummet at some point and they will depreciate 20% in value. And as soon as that happens, we're going to take the omen that has had the worst performance in comparison to yesterday, and we're going to invest into it, and we're going to hold that omen for a couple of days. And that's really a period, because we're going to invest a lot of divines into it, where we can make a lot of divines back. And we'll also be doing that in the context of the newer patches, where if you watched my last videos where I talked about it, there is some update to how rituals work and how the omens are in drop chance. So we'll kind of be figuring out what omen to invest in context of these patch notes. So that's about it for the short-term development. The general advice, right, if you didn't get quite what I was trying to get at, is just that you are going to hold your currency for now. You might want to do some flipping, especially with the Sinistral Null or the Dextral Null, but you don't want to do any large investing. Just some flipping, just some light increase in your value, in your stash value, and then we'll go from there and we'll see and wait for an opportunity. So to look at the long-term consequences of these patches, the new patches, and just the updates in general and the player count, we can see that the Chaos Orb still remains the best long-term investment, right? I say this every time and it still remains the same. You can go ahead and invest all your currency into Chaos Orbs if you're just interested in keeping the general value of your currency. If you are feeling a bit risky, you can also try out other coming currencies, which kind of include the Omen of Whittling. But as I said, the Whittling can drop a lot because of the patches. So if you look at the long-term development graph, there's really just two things you can invest into. That is the Chaos Orb and whatever is second here, which kind of switches between the Fracture Orb and the Divine Orb. So I'd put everything in Chaos Orb if you're just a casual player and you don't really want to have any worries about your currency decreasing in value. And for the rest, we'll figure it out as the patch notes come and the market moves. So that's just the advice for the investing, and I want to give you some more advice just handling the Alva currency trade, because I had a lot of people that messaged me privately and asked me some things on how these offers work that I'm doing right here. And what I'm doing is basically looking for currency that is hovering between something like a 3 mark and the 3.5 mark, right? And because this sinusoidal null is kind of always hovering about in this ballpark, I have used it for this for these few trades. And what you can do is that you buy all of these at 3-1 and that you sell at 3-4. And what this does is that everyone that only has one omen and wants a clear number of divines for it is going to get put into this order, and everyone that can afford to buy a bit more omens with a lot more divines is going to be put in this order. So what this does is that you are making a profit just by how the trade market works and how different people want different quantities. And that's just something that explains these weird, or might seem weird for someone that doesn't really know about it, these weird trade offers. I'll also be having another video on that in the future, but that is something for another time. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you got any questions, there's also an Ask Me channel in the Discord, and if you watched to the end, I thank you very much for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.